Not sure how you categorise last night, but from an Adelaide point of view, it was absolutely fantastic, this one. And as you said, 6 goals up, St Kilda, and then whoosho.
Well, they did. Hey, let's have a look at some of the highlights. And 6 goals. They didn't kick a goal until the 15-minute mark of the second term, the Adelaide Crows, as you see right here. 5-5, so they kicked that point to go 36 points up. And again, early stages of the third quarter, Brad Crouch, the former Crow, snaps back, puts them 36 points up. You're sitting there thinking there's no way they get back into this game.
No way.
But they did. Plus 20 contested disposals, plus 15. Rory Sloane had some big moments. Had a poor first half. Big smother and then a big mark and goal. And then this one, that wasn't a free kick, but it was paid as a free kick. That was very, very lucky to get that goal. And then we know that the hero, he was almost the villain with this one out of bounds on the full. He just needed a point, but he knew what was happening. He was just setting them all up, and he kicks this one back over his head. Riley Thilthorpe, well done.
Great goal.
Left-footed, Bill.
Well, he's a right footer and he kicked that left foot. Unbelievable. We'll have a good look at that in a minute, Tony.
All right then, but first up, Lordo's over at the Plasma.
And TJ, there's a review going on at Carlton, and there may well be one at St Kilda with how they are playing their football and what's actually gone wrong. I think it might be a mini one over this bye round. To look at. I know they've got injuries, but this is just not good enough. Let's take a look at the last quarter stats when the game was on the line. Got smashed at the clearances at the contest. They got smashed for inside 50s. You see the clearances plus 12. All they had to do was score a goal and a half, and they score 3 points and lose by a kick. So that's how damning that last quarter was. That one will haunt the Saints for a long time. But I want to show some vision of what went wrong. So even this, right? They take a mark. They're still 8 points up. No one wanted to run for St Kilda. So yes, you're being beaten in the centre bounce, but who actually wants to make it so you can hit up a short?
Take the game on.
Bill, all they wanted to do was hang on to the game and kick long to contest. So this is what happens. Bradley Hill, half back. He didn't really want to be close enough to opponents in that last quarter. And then what happens? You're second to the ball. You give away silly free kicks. So suddenly that happens. I wanted to watch this. Ball's in dispute here.
Yep.
All right. So, sorry, this was the next one. They wanted to hack balls.
Oh, look at that.
So they missed targets so they totally panicked in this game of football in the last quarter. Jake Kelly was able to get a 4-4 when there's a point in it. Then this one, ball in dispute. Who wants to work? Who wants to run? Noah who was running the Crows. I pause it. 5 Crows want to run. Saints, you're behind the ball, not actually working forward. And obviously we see what happens in the end. They were under siege. Because of that lack of run, they panicked again in that situation. And then we get to the last stoppage. How Pex gets forward of it. You know, the panic again, hacking in over the head. He runs past Howard. What's Howard doing? Howard is Thilthorpe still on the goal line, TJ. It was a damning game, damning last quarter. And this has been coming for a long time. Everyone said, OK, they've got some soft games now, St Kilda. But it's bigger than that. There's something internally...
Are they fit enough?
Well, they weren't yesterday.
Yeah. So if you did a review, Lordo, from you watching the Saints play, what is the number one thing they need to look at?
Well, I think they rely on too few. So I think that I want to know why guys like Billings, Hunter Clark, Caulfield, why they're not developing, why we haven't seen more from them. And I think last year you get a bit of a fix from a new coach, you get a fix from some new players coming in. But it's always the next year which is the biggest challenge, and they're poor in just about every department of the game.
Are you referring to a review of what's being dished up on field, or are you even talking longer than that, going back with recruiting over the last 3 seasons?
I'd look at everything, I'd look at everything. Yep.
Is that, when you talk about the panic, and that was fairly damning, what you showed there, is that also a reflection, not necessarily of their immaturity or lack of skill, but also the pressure that was being applied?
And I'm seeing it. I know we spoke about goal kicking it happened again yesterday. Like I saw Jack Higgins run in and have a shot for goal, and I'm going to show another Jack Soon, which was damning how he got to a point of taking a shot like he did yesterday. So, yeah, they need to be ruthless after what happened yesterday.
All right, well, if they're going to have a review, just replay that segment, because I think that probably said it all. Billy?
I don't know if we've seen this goal yet this morning, but Riley Thilthorpe, whatever his name is, have a look at this. Smothered by a St Kilda player. He gets it, left foot snap over his head. This is the first time they hit the front. The first time with 1 minute and 4 seconds to go, the first time they hit the front. He missed one a minute earlier when he had a shot on an angle and put it out in the full. But well done there to Riley.
On his left foot, Bill.
Left foot, which kicked over his head. Great effort, 3 goals. His 8th game of football. Well done to you, Riles. One of our favourites, Kane.
He is, absolutely. Looking forward to speaking to him. He's going to be a star. He's going to be a force when he grows into his body. Had a great first season. This one was interesting. Brownie's already shown it. It's probably the 6th occasion this year where a questionable umpiring decision has cost a team perhaps the result. Now, I'm not sure how you could possibly pay that as a free kick. And then we'll have a listen to the explanation as I'll shut up and you have a listen to the umpire and listen to his explanation to Dougal Howard as why this was a free kick.
He's paid a free. He's going to get the goal in the end.
It's still a marking contest and you prevented him from marking the ball with holding.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the defenders these days. There's not a lot defenders can do. You can't put your arm around their waist. You can't chop an arm. There's just not much you can do. And to pay that free kick in that moment, probably Damo needs another explanation from the AFL for maybe the 6th time this year.
Yeah, look, I would have thought so. They're now creating a habit of sorts, aren't they, in addressing incidents that do happen late in a game that influence a result. I'd expect one, Kane, on the back of what they've done previously to this point.
I just want to talk about one of the poorest choices of shots for goal that I've ever seen. So this is Jack Loney, and now I'm critical again here. What are you doing when you're 14 points up, trying that? The angle's not that tight. Why wouldn't you run in and kick a drop punt for goal? And then it brings upon this sort of stuff. Because I think it just filters through the whole team. But that first choice is just unacceptable. That you are. I know there's unconventional shots now, but that one was different, Kane, to anything I've ever seen before.
So what's happening there, Lord? I mean, we did the Volcano segment about you and your role and not being accepted down there, and you mentioned Jack Higgins again. He's kicked 1 goal late in the last 2 weeks. This is costing them games, and we're around 13, 14, and players are still making those choices. Who is advising these players on how to have a simple shot for goal? I don't understand it.
Yeah, obviously it's hurting Ruffy, who's in charge of goal kicking and obviously the forward stuff, but you should know every blade of grass what sort of shot you're going to take, and I just see too much randomness within players across the whole board, where it's just still not something that they're taking their careers seriously enough. They're paid like full-time footballers, but they make decisions like part-time.
Because you knew every blade of grass. You used to pick it up.
I know. That's right.
There was no grass left by the end of the game. So, Kane, who is responsible for the goal kicking down there?
Well, as Lordo said, I think it's Jared Ruffhead's portfolio, but take some responsibility as players as well. Like, Ken Hinkley one time got every single player to have their maximum shot out from goal. So I knew that I was 46 metres. I was not allowed to have a shot for goal from outside of 46 metres because he hated the ball getting spoiled on the goal line. They used to do it under fatigue. They used to have specialist coaches who would film you, who would go through it analytically about your goal kicking. I know Lordo spoke about this and he's the most passionate about it. But that was 5 years ago when I was playing. This issue has cost St Kilda, not this year, it's cost them the last 2 years. And in crucial moments like that, it's cost them 2 victories in the last 2 weeks and perhaps a spot in the finals.
I agree with Kane on that one. The player has to take responsibility. I know that the forward coach down there is probably copping the heat at the moment, but if you're not having 100 shots after a Tuesday and 100 shots before or after a Thursday session, then you're not serious. And obviously, backmen probably aren't going to take that.
You're not allowed to nowadays.
But you should be allowed to. You should be taking the responsibility on yourself to become a goal scorer and take 100 shots I think a Tuesday or post a Thursday, 200 shots a week minimum if you're a goal scorer.
This slump has been dramatic. To think that their season, the Saints, is over after round 13, given they entered the year expecting to push into the top 4, even Lordo, they were talking about a potential grand final appearance. Brett Ratton last night, it was a hard match for him to endure. He lamented the fact they couldn't sustain their first half form.
Yeah, that was hard to go through, and especially the way that we went through it too. We just got beaten up around the ball, and the contest works, clearances, an area that we were going really well, but just flipped on its head. Yeah, we're just not strong enough and hard enough.
There was a clash also too involving Adelaide's David McKay with St Kilda's Hunter Clark. I don't know whether this, Kane, is worthy of 3 weeks or if it's just not even referenced in the match review office in terms of it being a sanctionable offence. I cannot get a read on what they're going to do with this one.
I'm with you, Damo, and that's the most concerning thing because we saw O'Meara get off for a hit on Will Hayward from Sydney that left him concussed, so he was fine, but we also saw Lockie Plowman get 2 weeks earlier on in the year. Now, what I will say about Dave McKay, one of the fairest players we've seen over nearly 250 games now, and I'm with you. I won't be shocked if it's 3. I also won't blink if it's none.
But Clark got a broken jaw out of it, so he's in trouble. So he's in trouble.
The ball couldn't have been any closer to the contest.
I know, but because he's got a broken jaw, I reckon
That shouldn't count for anything.
I know,
But it does with Michael
Yeah,
Christian, and this
it
has
does.
always been my beef with him about that.
Yeah.
Because anyway, hey, let's move on. Riley Thorthorpe, of course, will join it. Go on, Bill.
No, What is Phil Thorpe?
That's his surname.
I know what his surname is, but what is it?
Well,
Where's it come
it's his
from?
surname. Well, where does Brownless come from?
Well, we're German. Das macht nicht.
That's what?
Das macht nicht.
I don't want to ask you what that means.
And that translates to Brownless.
No, it's just German.
Actually, there is a bit of Sergeant Schultz about you.
I know nothing.